While most men find naturally boosting testosterone impossible, it almost seems like every influencer and his dog is either doubling or sometimes tripling theirs. But does boosting testosterone naturally lead to more gains? And is every man with low testosterone destined to be swimming in small t-shirts all his life? Or is chasing higher levels of testosterone just simply mental masturbation, ego-stroking metrics that mean very little when it comes to building muscle and losing fat? In today's video, I'm going to pull back the curtain and give you the answer to those questions with my own clients as case studies who came to me with low testosterone but managed to shift their belly, pack on muscle and get a physique that they felt proud of. And at the end of the video, I'm going to give you the 3 key needle movers that have helped my clients shift 5, 10, even 20 kilograms of fat in as little as 120 days without hormone therapy, fad diets, even when they had suboptimal levels of testosterone. Now, when it comes to addressing low testosterone levels, a good doctor or practitioner will always say, treat the symptoms, not the number. And what this means is you can have low levels of testosterone on paper after getting your bloods done, for example, but not actually suffer from any side effects of low testosterone, like struggling to build muscle, lose fat, erectile dysfunction, low libido, and brain fog. For the purpose of this video, I'm going to focus on the impact having low or high testosterone has on building muscle and losing fat. Now, I'm not for 1 second saying that high levels of testosterone doesn't play a huge part when it comes to building muscle and losing fat. Athletes, bodybuilders, and Hollywood actors have known this secret for years. And that's why some of them inject synthetic testosterone to help them train harder and recover faster between workouts, giving them astronomical gains in the process. Just to give you some context, a synthetic testosterone user can go from having 200 nanograms per deciliter of testosterone, which is considered extremely low, to 1,200 nanograms per deciliter, which is considered godlike testosterone. And sometimes it can be even more than that, depending on the dosage and what compound the individual is taking. But for guys who have no desire to buy testosterone from the dark web, or the shady, bald, ripped dude at the gym who's got a locker full of syringes, pills, and vials, most guys turn to natural remedies to boost their testosterone. But after watching one too many Andrew Huberman podcasts, these guys who naturally try and boost their testosterone start eating liver, spend a small fortune on supplements like ashwagandha, tonka ali, and Wim Hof their balls in an attempt to naturally boost their testosterone. And when it comes to these natural testosterone boosting remedies, the evidence and research of these things directly boosting testosterone is actually very limited and not promising at all, if I'm being honest. If we just look at the individual studies of tonka ali, for example, countless studies have shown tonka ali to, slightly boost testosterone. 200 milligrams per day for 6 months increased testosterone from 278 nanograms per deciliter to 400. 100 milligrams of tonka ali a day for 12 weeks increased total testosterone from 187 to 203 nanograms per deciliter. 600 milligrams a day for 2 weeks increased total testosterone from 871 to 996. So while it might seem that tonka ali is increasing testosterone levels in men with low testosterone, the differences are so minuscule in comparison to someone taking synthetic testosterone that tonka ali wouldn't really have any real, at least bearing or long-lasting effect on building muscle and losing fat. Which is why for most people, chasing higher levels of testosterone through things like supplements, rituals, old wives' tales, just in the sake of building muscle and losing fat, is simply mental masturbation metrics. Because at the end of the day, there are far more important needle movers that you should be focusing on if your goal is to build muscle and lose fat. My skinny fat client, Patrick, who's 49 years old, is a perfect example of how powerful these needle movers are when he came to me struggling to lose fat. Because with just some, tiny small tweaks to how he trained, his diet and his habits, which I'll show you, what we did in a second, he lost 12 kilograms of fat in just 16 weeks, despite having really low levels of testosterone when we got it tested. Client Mike is another example of someone who had the testosterone levels of a horny teenager at 48 years old, but even then he still struggled to lose his belly and get stronger at the gym. But again, small tweaks to his diet and how he trained, he managed to shift 5 kilograms of fat for his summer holiday in just 90 days. And you can actually grab my book, The Skinny Fat Reboot, in the description that pulls back the curtain on the exact two-phase framework, and that is the testosterone awakening and the stimulation phase that Patrick and my other clients have used to help them reverse this skinny fat curse. So as far as muscle building and losing fat goes, with the evidence that we've got, eating organs, taking fancy supplements, and bathing your bollocks in freezing water will do very, very little for your testosterone levels or gains, at least in the long run. But here's what will actually get you gains and maybe slightly boost your testosterone. Let's take a trip down memory lane so I can explain to you exactly what they are. So like most people, I left university with a degree I don't use, debt, and a beer belly. I was walking around the heaviest that I'd ever been, and let me tell you, none of the weight that I gained was muscle. My extra flab weighed me down mentally and physically. I got so fat that I couldn't walk up a flight of stairs without blowing out of my ass. I had no motivation to train, no energy, no sex drive, and it took me almost 2 years to shift my university weight. And when I did, my confidence, energy, and sex drive skyrocketed. Which is why the biggest impact on increasing testosterone levels is to get to a healthy level of body fat. And the easiest way to do that is to just make sure that the food you eat aligns with your goal and that you're eating fewer calories than what your body burns. Now, how much you should eat will differ from person to person, which is why if you buy my Skinny Fat Reboot book, you will get a free calorie and macro calculator that I use with my clients so you can work out exactly how much you should be eating per day. And also, when I started training, there used to be this dude at my home gym who was absolutely humongous. He was so big that he used to shoulder press the 40-kilogram dumbbells like they were nothing. And I never saw him with a plan while he was training. And I'll never forget being all shy and going up to him asking, how he got that strong and big. And his answer was, if you think you're training hard, you can always train harder. And that's the reality that, most guys end up gaining fat and not muscle when they try to gain muscle. That's because they're simply not training hard enough. And by that I mean if your first rep is the same speed as your last rep, you're simply not taking a set close enough to failure, which gives your muscles no reason to grow. Your final few reps should always be slightly slower than your first reps if your goal is to build muscle. And if that happens, you're picking a challenging enough weight for muscle to grow. My client Lewis, who was doing night shifts, came to me struggling to build muscle despite eating more and lifting weights. But because he was working night shifts, his sleep pattern was all over the shop. So when we put a plan in place, he started getting 7 to 9 hours of undistracted deep sleep, which primed his testosterone, because believe it or not, testosterone spikes when we sleep. So that's really, really important and a huge key needle mover. Now, everything in this video I told you is completely pointless. Because you can be nailing your calories, training hard like client Lewis, but if you're not doing this one simple thing before bed, not only are you leaving gains on the table, but you're missing out on optimizing your testosterone levels when you sleep. And you can check that out by watching the next video up here. Thanks for your time and attention. I'll see you soon.